Hey Raz, how's it going? Hey Scott. Hey Henry, how's it going? I'm hanging in there. If they did Raz, then don't worry about it. You don't have to print them again. I just thought maybe it would work. There's no reason to overdo it. Let's do the skirt in a bit. Let's work on the desk. So Raz got the Blanka stuff printed out. So this should work out pretty good for the desk. So I'm thinking the hands and head be like this, sorta. Actually kind of funny if looking at it at an angle. Actually that might work better. Hey, what's up, Devastator? Yeah, that's kind of how life is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what I want to do is set this up where I put this on, fill it in though, and then spray paint it black. And then I can actually paint these and then just glue them in. So that's the idea. But I don't want the desk top to be up that high. I kind of want it down a little bit more. So I'm going to grind down his head a little bit more. Be right back. Warm weather starting to show up. I'm so happy. Went for a walk today too. Just got back like 10 minutes ago. Figured start enjoying the weather a little bit more. Right, mix up some Aves. I don't know, is there anything new going on with you guys? Just same shit, different week? Well, we're starting to get pollen a little bit. Even though it's kind of cold again, I had to wear a windbreaker with my sweater. But we're starting to get the pollen and starting to sneeze a lot more now. So, hey, customizer, how's it going? I would love to do a vacation. Haven't been on vacation since 2015. Well, hopefully you have a good vacation when you go, Raz. Hopefully it's somewhere fun. Hey, Joe. Well, that sounds fun. At least you got a plan to do something. Just make sure you make it out of Vegas alive. That's all. looks good. That's always a good thing. Being able to, you know, check out a store like that. What the hell? Alright, hopefully you guys can still hear me. Just had a little hiccup. Oh, okay. Kaleido is? I didn't know that. I'll have to keep an eye on them. Like I said, I like the paint, but I don't like the paint. So I think it's a matter of kind of messing with them a little bit more. Yeah, if you could stock up. The only thing, are you driving or are you flying? Because I know when you fly, you can only have so much liquid unless you plan on shipping back. Oh, if you're driving, yeah, stock up as much as you can. Well, if they do transparencies, that might be the brand to use for transparency, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. Hold on 1 second, let me...
I started a business to give.
So looking at the candy coat, it looks like you'd have to spray a couple layers on it. Hey Butterfly, how's it going? Yeah, the candy coat looks good, but it looks more like a transparency than a candy coat, actually. It seems like you definitely have to spray layers of that. But I mean, they look pretty decent, you know? Get a really nice shine on those spoons. Let me check out the other video. Ah, excuse me. So that's all their skin tones? Oh, well, they got a couple flesh. Flashy gold. Alright, I'll have to look into these some more. Yeah, the flashy gold is the best one. I love it. Where is it? This one. They have a regular pale gold, but the flashy gold's got that yellow in there. Oh, it's cold. Hold on a second. Hello? 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 Okay. Never mind that. Hey, raccoon. Ah, is she butt down? Hold on. Hello? No, I don't think I need anything else printed. At least not yet. Yeah, I plan to, as long as all goes well, next week. I don't know how well it's going to go, but I'm hoping I can use a day next week to clean out the garage and pull out all the next commissions. But next week is kind of the supposedly my mother's going back to the assisted living place from rehab, so I don't know if they're gonna need me for anything. So it's just one it's one battle after another. It's just. But I'm hoping to pull out everybody else's items, start working on stuff. Okay, I think this should be a good setup. What I'll do is let that cure, and then I could put freeform air in the back of it and then paint it black. So this way I could paint the head and just kind of glue it in. But this way I can really darken up a lot of the area. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see if I can, let me put it up this way. So you could sort of see him in there like that. Okay, so what I'll do is put this aside and I'll kind of just let that cure up. What I'll do too is I'll sort of, with like freeform air, I'll sort of smudge his arms and sort of his head and body. So this way what I do is I'll paint it black and do a little bit of highlighting green to the hand, so kind of it looks like he's getting darker as you look back there. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So, and then I can paint the head and I can paint the hands and just kind of plop them in at the end. So let's put this aside. Yeah, I think it'll work out pretty good. It's just a matter of working out the inside of it when it's cured, because I want to make the pieces removable as best as I can. So, but I did get the whatchamacallit, wipe off this brush. I did get the wire in, so. Okay. Alright, so the wireframe came in pretty straightforward. So I guess we can do a test. The thing I'm thinking is I make a circle, I cut it, and then I'm thinking of like folding it like a pleated skirt and then put it on, but I have to make a bigger circle than what's there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I could test on paper first. I figured I'll spend this stream getting the wire done, and then next week we can put the Aves on top, because I didn't want to mix up the Aves and let it sit for 3 hours and then try to get the frame going and it doesn't work. So I wanted to kind of get the frame done first. So let me grab some paper and grab my tools here. I want to open that on the phone. So let's grab paper in the other hand. Okay. Alright, so my theory is this is going to be too long for her waist. Too big for the waist, correct? But what if I did this with the frame? So what if I sort of like... Right, so what if we did this? Right, so what if we, I don't know, I'm just kind of winging this here. So what if we, I mean, it might have to be a bigger circle. You know, I'm just kind of messing with this for now, seeing if this is going to like work. Because my idea would be, you make the frame, right? And then what you do is you roll out eaves, and then you layer eaves on the flat sections, and then you put eaves in the inside here, and then over here, and you kind of fill up the frame with eaves and you sand it down. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking. I don't know if this is going to work, but I might have to make a really, really big circle. It's just that circle alone's not gonna, well, that might go around her waist. No, it might need to be bigger, yeah. You know? So then because what I did is I Dremeled out her side here. So then what you do is you take this and you put it into the wireframe, you know? And then with the wireframe you can sort of bend it a little bit more. So I'm thinking like that'll be a good, something like that. See? So that's what I'm thinking of doing. Of course it'll have to be a bigger circle. Yeah, it's a little time consuming on it, but I figure I can, you know, like when I layer the eaves on it too, I can actually bend it a little bit more. I mean, and then once you sort of get the frame on there with eaves sticking into it, if the frame is sort of screwed up, you could probably Dremel it off and throw eaves on there and kind of fix it. So I think we got to make a big one. And having it curved will be easier too. So let's give this a shot, see how this works out. So let's grab this tool. Okay, so you pop this sucker off. And pop this on. But we're gonna tie a marker to it. Like I said, I'd rather sit here today and build out the frame, get it done, and then next week we can put the eaves on. I'd rather take my time with this. Never did it before, so I'll figure it out. The other thing too is that I know I'm gonna like slice my finger on this stuff. I just know it. At least it cuts easy. Get her off here for a second. need you to stay there long enough. It's not the best mock-up, but enough to make a decent circle, I guess. Poor man's circle. It's working. To a point. Ah, fuck. Oops. Probably should have put a dot in the front. Alright. Let's kind of bring this in a bit. Yeah, I think maybe that's too short. Let's go a little bit further in. Alright, this will be attempt number 1. So let's see if we can cut this without slicing myself and sort of make a basic frame. Yep, starting to grab the skin here and there. Well, it wouldn't be a custom statue unless I put some blood into it, right? Happens with a lot of them. Okay. Paper seems a little bit easier, but it's alright. So let's end this here. Right. Maybe it should be a smaller. More like that. I guess maybe let's do some measurements as we go. So maybe make it an inch pleat, I guess, an inch. So then this gets bent here, and then a little piece like that. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll do an inch here, and then an inch here. I missed it. I lost it. Where'd it go? So it's one like screw it. I guess we'll just start eyeballing it. Now we can at least do this an inch at a time, so. cut this to relieve some tension. Oh, whoops, let me see. I'm in the wrong side. Wait. No, I was on the right side. It's going in the wrong direction. Yeah, this wireframe is definitely going to be chopped up a bit, sanded down, and some of it will probably be sticking out of the item, but that's alright. It's not bad to work with this stuff though. It's definitely is not like dealing with like screen from a window or a door. Actually it's a little bit easier. And even though I'm poking myself, it's not like slicing my fingers open like the screen on the front door would, you know. So it's actually not that bad. I'm going to be using this stuff more often on things. This is definitely good for capes. I'll have to let my friend know too. I'll have to give him some of it because he's got some capes he wants to work on. So yeah, I have a cousin-in-law who does kitchen cabinets. He's the one who gave me these these kitchen cabinets to make this desk I'm using now. He had a bunch of screen window stuff sitting in his garage he gave me, so I've been using the screen stuff for things over the past couple years, and every time I cut those goddamn things I slice my fingers. Because it's really good if you like, if you ever have to, like if you have a hollow item that's got like a hole in it, you know, like if you repair a drywall, you know how you put like the screen on the drywall and you kind of spackle over it. So sometimes I use the screen stuff in the inside of like a hollow item, if it's a small little item too. But when you cut like a little section like this out, I still slice myself on it. So, but this seems to work a little bit better. So I'm kind of glad you guys suggested this. It's good stuff. Never thought about aluminum. that got me. If you start seeing the metal turn red, you know it really got me. I think the most important part I'm focusing on is just this kind of area. Like this area here probably might get chopped up a little bit. But kind of like almost there. Yeah, I think that's kind of enough, I think, right? So I think what we'll do is kind of slice it here. So I think this one's got to be cut off. Alright, I think that's a good start. So what I think I need to do is jam it into this. I might have to make this a little bit deeper and bigger in the garage. And then I can sort of jam it in there with glue, and then we can start bending it. So let me go in the garage and sort of chop this up a little bit more. So that's why it's a good thing I filled this in with a rod and resin. So this way by chopping into it, it's always easier and doesn't, because if that was hollow, that would have just fell apart. Okay. Where is the glue? Where did I put the glue? Here's the glue. Let's get a good tool. So it'll be fine. Okay. Now we're going to glue a little bit at a time here, because if I try and squeeze glue in there while it's got that residue, it's going to clog up my glue. So I don't want to do that. So we're going to just take this a little bit at a time. But I think this is going to work how I envisioned it. But I am running low in this bottle. Let's fill this in. Yeah, I think this is gonna work. I think this is gonna work pretty good. Because we'll start shaping it once it's kind of set in here better. And then this way the A's will lock it into place up to the... Yeah, because trying to do this with like the screen from a window and front door, I'd probably be needing stitches right now. But it's good though that it's aluminum, because if you had to go in and Dremel a section off, the Dremel will cut this with no problem. So that's a good thing. This is good stuff. I don't know why I never thought of it before. Because the idea too is that I'll be able to paint underneath the skirt. I mean, of course, in a perfect world, you could paint the lower half and glue it up to the top, but we don't have that luxury right now. I also got to put her hand on her hip too. Where did I put her hands? Just in case we do something. Hopefully when all's said and done, it won't even look like I ever had a wireframe on her. The other thing too is I gotta make sure this glue is cured before I start bending it, because I don't want it to pop out. I think that's gonna work. It's got a good armature to it. And you can actually, like, if I had to, I probably could hit it with like a hammer too and flatten it in areas. Alright, I put too much residue in there, so I gotta just let this cure for a bit. How's this look here? Okay, I was worried that the hand might hit it, but now we're good. We are good. Good, 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 good. Yeah, the wireframe worked good. I'm glad. I think it was Terrell who said the aluminum, but I just think the hard part is just layering the eaves afterwards. But it should work out. It's like a good starting point, I guess. You know, it's a good starting point. that kind of cure up as much as possible before we start bending it. So the only thing that sucks about glue is when it's still semi wet down below after the interset. When you pop it out, it just makes a complete mess. So but two good things of this, it's even though it's whatchamacallit, aluminum, with the eaves it'll make it like a little bit stronger in case it ever breaks or cracks, which we don't want to happen, but shit happens. Let's see how this is. Alright, so alright, so since this is sorta, I think we can kinda just also have to make sure that whatever I do, I can get paint underneath there. So let's kind of bend this a little bit. Just take this around here. This back part might be a pain only because I got two pieces here. I probably should see if I can cut this one down. So, well, let's see. There we go. Gonna start. Now it's gonna start hitting me. And we're gonna start poking myself. Yeah, it's starting. But I want to sort of So, I think the best way to do it is roll out of strips of these and put in the inside first. Let them cure. And then sort of build like a curve a little bit onto these strips. I think. Still want to keep some of her figure a little bit, so alright, so what do you guys think? What I could do is mix up Aves and do the inside sections first, and then from there let them cure, and then next week build out the other sections. I wasn't planning on doing any I was kind of keeping it more clean and focusing on the cleavage more. Kind of thinking more the cleavage is the focus. Why do you guys think it should be shorter, or I don't know, what do you guys just think? I mean, I could trim around if you guys think we should go shorter. No, it's fine. Like I said, if anyone's got suggestions, tell me now before I start doing anything else. I mean, her hair is flowing, so I mean, we could do a little bit of a... I can try to play with it a little bit more. See, this piece here has got to sort of be... sort of lock this one in place a little bit. Kind of hard because like you start bending something and the other piece starts to go with it, you know. So but I also want to make sure I can get the eaves in there because this part's got like that curve, but you're going to be looking over here more. So let's see if I can. Hey JC, how's it going? Hanging in there. Just plugging away at work, trying to get stuff done. It's pretty much life right now. Well, there's a lot of recasting and 3D prints that overseas that they print and they pump out. I mean, they're not, I wouldn't say all of them are scams, but I wouldn't say they're all high quality either, you know? So I'm sure a lot of them are, whatchamacallit, probably, they look good on the eBay, auction, but in person they'll probably look like trash. So that's kind of like a common thing. But the only problem though is the guys who sell a statue for like 50 bucks but then charge you like 400 for shipping, those are the ones I would stay away from, because they're trying to navigate the eBay costs. So if something happens, they'll be like, well, you only paid $50 for it, not 400 for shipping, you know? So that's kind of like something you want to be careful of. Alright, I can't really mess with it too much more. It's gonna, but I think when I'll do details and I'll kind of toy with it with the eaves. So I think that's kind of as good as it's gonna get for now. Yeah, the whole tariff thing, I don't know, like, there's, really couldn't tell you what's going on with it all. Basically, I try to just order what's, you know, available to me right now in my area. Try not to order from overseas too much until things get worked out. Ask away. How do I go about picking a character? I basically look at the sculpt, the pose, and how much work it is to chop up. I've had a lot of people in the past who, like, will pick, like, a Captain America statue and they want to turn it into a Wolverine, so they want me to shave down all the armor, and basically it's like sculpting from scratch. A lot of times I try and pick characters that are pretty much nude, where it's easier to sculpt onto a nude character than to chop everything up. But with 3D sculpting now, everybody makes like nude versions of the character anyway, so it's becoming easier. Even with female statues, I've had people ask for characters that are just like, you know, I've had people ask for like a Black Widow that's all in armor to be turned into something else, and I'm just like, well, the character you wants to show the abs and the back muscles and the collarbone, and like that Black Widow statue has nothing of that, so you have to redo it all, so the prices go up. So it's all about pose and how much work's involved. See, these that I've been working on were easier because they were nude, you know. But I'm not saying nude in the sense that you know, pervy. It's just easier, you know. It's better to work off a bare item than to start, you know, chop it all up. Like with this character, her breasts were kind of lower, and so I brought them up for the bra. But if it was like covered in armor, I would have to chop all that armor off and rebuild it. But yeah, so that's kind of the best way that I look at stuff. That's why when people contact me, sometimes I tell them like, look, you know, we could do it with that character and that sculpt, but you're looking at insane amount of work. Versus if we go onto like a file, we buy an SD file that's a little bit nude, semi-similar pose, it's easier. Same thing with Sideshow and Bow and stuff, you know. I've always had to tell people in the past that won't work, or it will work, but I'll be working on it for like 3 years, you know. Alright, I think we're good with this, but I think I'm gonna do some Aves. Just get a layer on it for now. Yeah, this is a 3D print with this statue. 3D prints are amazing now. You know, even the cheap printers people get they print such high quality that it's really not an issue. Like, I actually don't really look at Sideshow or Bone stuff anymore, even anime kits. I look at 3D files for printing because there's so many of them out there now that it's literally, it's a plethora. A plethora of stuff to choose from. I know about 4 guys now that can 3D print. And sometimes the guys I talk to, they know those guys too, or they have somebody else that has the 3D print. So like, it's so easy these days. It really is. Yeah, I don't 3D print because I don't want a 3D printer, but you know, with everybody owning their own 3D printers now, a lot of guys are trying to offset costs, you know, because they like to do it themselves. So like Raz and Chat 3D prints. I think there's I think Scott 3D prints. I don't know if Scott does commissions, but like I said, I know one guy who's doing it like as like a side job. There's another guy I know that does it for fun, but he'll do stuff for people. My friend in Canada 3D prints. And there's like 4 other guys in the hobby that 3D print. I don't talk to, but they can do it. Yeah, you can just find an STL of a pose you like that's basically close to the character, and you go from there. Like if you go, so you can look on this, I'll give you 2 sites. So you go onto that site, and what you could do is think of characters that might be close to what you're looking for. So I don't know what character you're looking for, but let's just say it's she looks like Velma from Scooby-Doo. Go onto that site, type in Velma, you'll see about like 10-15 kits of Velma. If the character's more superhero looking, you could look up Phoenix, you know, like Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey. You could look up Catwoman. You could look up, you know, Street Fighter characters, and you could just sift through sculpts like crazy. And then if you find guys like, whatchamacallit, let's see. So you got, hold on, let's see, let's click this. No, I never focus on the actual character. I always look at the sculpt. Yeah, that's why when I did these characters, I liked the sculpts, and then we voted on a character. So if your character's more of a flying pose, you look up like, you know, Supergirl, look up Wonder Woman, look up like, you can look up flying, like just flying type characters. If your character's more like sexy pose, then I guess you can search around on those sites. You gotta look up everything though. There's thousands of sculpts out there. There's characters from Marvel, DC, Image, cartoon characters. There's just so much out there. And a good thing about 3D printing, if you want a custom, so say you just want the bare figure and the head, but you don't want the hair, and you don't want the base, and you don't want all the extra stuff, you don't have to print all that stuff. You know? Because you could tell the person, like, hey, I want you to print this file, but I only want the head, the body, and the arms. You know, I don't want the base, I don't want the guns, I don't want the cape. So you don't have to, like, add all that cost onto the 3D print, which is fun. And the other thing too is if there's a head you like from this 3D print, but you want that body, you can have the person scale that head and you can customize it onto that body. So, like 3D printing has opened up a whole new world of customizing. And you can make a lot of fun one-of-a-kind items too with it. Like even some old Sideshow stuff that I still have to work on, but the hands are broken or I don't like the head, I can 3D print new hands and heads and swap them out. And then if you have a Sideshow head that you love, but you want to put that onto a body, you can scale a 3D print to be in scale with the head. So it's endless what you can do now. That's why I enjoy doing it. So you can make a lot of one-of-a-kinds that are really cool. The Catwoman, I'll have to look that one up. Didn't you do like 3 of them by now? I still want this Scream. I know I showed you guys last week, but I want this one for a personal custom. If I can find the... I mean, no, I'm sorry, the Silver Banshee. Oh no, usually I brainstorm with people. So sometimes somebody will contact me and they're like, I want to make this character, but I don't know what statue to use. So I just go on to like these sites and I look up a bunch of different poses and I show the customer, the client, and they say, oh, I like that one, you know, or I like the head on this one, and then we just kind of work it out and print it. Yeah, I think I remember the purple one he did. But yeah, there's a good couple that I still need to print for myself, but the problem is with these sculpts, every month there's new stuff coming out, so I'll give you one site, JC, you can look at. The only problem is it's a reseller site, so it doesn't go to the person who made it, but it's easier to ship through this site. Hold on a second. So that site, that's a reseller site. I don't purchase from them. I mean, when I first got into this stuff, I made a mistake and I did purchase from them. But I learned that they're a reseller site. But whenever I find a sculpt on there I go and I find like it on Cults or CG Trader. And then if I buy it, I get it from the person who's selling it. So this way the person who created it gets the money. But sadly, it's a good site to find, like, you know, just sculpts that you might like. So on that site, you could type in Rogue, you could type in Jean Grey, you could type in Wolverine, you could type in, you know, Catwoman, you could type in Supergirl, Power Girl, Superman, and you'll get, like, sculpts out the wazoo that are, you know, and you can see what stuff you like. Alright, I'm gonna go roll this out. I'll be right back. Hey, what's up, Terrell? How's it going? You missed it. We did kind of did the wireframe. Worked out pretty well so far. So now I'm just gonna try to layer some A's in there, and hopefully it kind of pans out. And I didn't cut myself, so that worked out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put A's in the inside of the pleats, let it cure, next week we'll do the upper eaves, and then if I need to like grind out any areas in here, I can, and it should work out. Now it worked. This was pretty good. It was it bent pretty well. You can scroll back in the video, you can sort of see how I did it. So basically, you know, we just kind of start working out the eaves area with the pleat. Like, I know it's gonna like have some pieces sticking through, but that doesn't really bother me because it'll get all cleaned up. I didn't cut myself, but I hit my elbow. Yeah, I got a funny feeling what'll happen is once I get my first layer of eaves on, because what I'll do is I'm going to do this inside areas first, let it cure, and then I'll work on the outside layers and kind of create that pleat, and then like see how this is sort of sticking through. I might go back in there and Dremel that out. So, but I want to try to kind of lock it in as best as I can now. But it's all experimental. We'll see how it kind of plays out at the end. Kind of curious, Raccoon, on which Catwoman you were thinking of. Is it on? I'm sure it's on Cults, right? Was it the purple one? Was it this one? It's the only Catwoman he has. I thought he did more. Maybe I was wrong. I do want to print his Bayonetta. I do want this one. I want that Bayonetta, and I think it's this one. Yeah, I like this one. Definitely want to get those, hoping I could get one of my bayonets done this year. This summer. You can email me. I don't have, can't post anything in chat. Yeah, only I can. I would need moderators and stuff, and I'm not doing all that for such a small channel. Only because when I first started, I used to get spammed like crazy. Although, a lot of the spams stopped. I guess they realized it wasn't worth messing with my channel, but I don't want to get, if you don't have moderators and somebody posts something, you get kicked off right away, you know? So keep it simple here. When I make it big time, that's when we'll do it. Although I wouldn't want to make it big time because I watch all these YouTubers that crash and burn because they have to keep up with the content and everything. Then again, I watch a lot of YouTubers that have a really great channel, and then once they start, you know, getting more successful, they start going away from what made them popular, and then their channel becomes fake, and then nobody watches them anymore, which is sad because sometimes just a basic channel is more fun than trying to get all fancy and, you know, start getting more commercialized. I still love a lot of the stuff that's just like filmed in like the backyard. Stuff's a lot more fun. Alright, so this is the character. So that's the character you're looking for. And this is the character. That's easier alterations, definitely. If you wanted to go that route, like you could use the body and sort of recreate the sleeves and the bottom of the thing. But if you want to go with the head, you could swap out for a different head off of another statue. So that's definitely, you can, so from what I could tell on there, you can sort of tweak the outfit, give her the cuffs, but I guess she has like ear things on with her hair. So you could find a different head from another statue. The 3D printer will be able to scale the head. So in the file, like when the 3D printer is printing the bodies, if you're going to have it at a 1/4 scale, what they'll do is they'll take the head from the other file and they put it next to it and they just scale it, and then they delete this head and then you print that head and that's it. Yeah, it's not hard, trust me. It's very easy. It's easier to do it while you're going to print it than to actually print it and then print the head. It's not difficult at all. It's easy. It's very easy. Like for example, I mean, so this is a Sideshow Collectibles file. I mean a statue. And I had I think it was Raz. He printed out a different head for me. So this head is in scale. So I just have to rework the neck. And this was already sculpted, so what he did is he printed out like 3 heads, and I just picked the right head that's in perfect scale. Basically, whatchamacallit, the peach that I've been working on in streams, that head didn't come with that statue. Raz scaled it from a different statue. So that head for the peach is completely a different sculpt. So this body, this head is from a different statue. So all Raz did was when he printed it, he just made sure this head was in scale. And this hair is from that different statue too, so. Yeah, I don't know if I still have the picture. Let me see. I can, Raz sent me lots of emails and I really never deleted them. Yeah, so like that whatchamacallit, that female with the body, you just find a different head for her, that's all. Let's see. Yeah, the one with the dress is easy. It's just find a different head, that's all. And then you can re-sculpt the hair. Like if I could find a file. Hold on, bear with me. Bear with me. I have like 300 emails from Raz. He sent me all this. Well, there's plenty of anime type stuff there you could probably find. There we go. Alright, so... Alright, I have to sort of block something here first before I can show it. Hold on, hold on. Hold on. It's better for you to see it and understand what I'm saying. It's just that the picture is nude, so... No, it's fine. This is what the streams are about. It's the friggin' show people and give them ideas on how things work. It's fine. It's what the streaming is all about. But let me block this off because I don't want YouTube to be like, what the hell are you showing people? You know what I mean? Okay. Alright, so I had to block her off. So that's the original poison statue for Peach. So what Raz did was he takes the file, he puts it next to her head, and he sort of scales it in proportions. And he makes sure that it's in scale. Then you don't print this head, you print this head. And that's how you scale it when you go to print. That's what you do in 3D printing. Now, this may look a little bit bigger, but then again, this is an anime head, and then she doesn't have her hair and forehead. But if you look at the mouth, the nose, the eyes, it's in proportion. So, and that's what you do in 3D printing. So you can, you know, you could swap out heads and stuff like that. So, all I'm doing real quick is I'll just give you some examples. All I did... Hold on. Let's see what this is. No, it's not going to work. That's not working. Hold on. Hold on. So I mean, you could go on to cults, and you could type in different characters. You could type in anime. So you know, so you got stuff like this. You know, let's see. You know, I just typed in anime, and you know, you got. Let's see, now that won't work. That won't work. I mean, it takes some sifting around. You know, I mean, they do have anime characters like this. You know. Yeah, I'm just trying to look at stuff that might look a little older school anime. I'm just trying to see. Like I said, I'm just doing this fast. I'm not really like looking, but... Let me check the other site real quick. It takes a little bit of time. Also, it's good to, if you look through stuff and you find something you like, you save the link. Because you know, you gotta start kind of comparing them. Let's see, so if we're on this site, something that's kind of older school anime, let's see. Older school anime. I mean, sometimes it's hard. You never, you know, for anyone to really... There's got to be sort of sculpts out there. It might be like specific characters too. I would show on my screen, but I don't want to click anything that's wrong. Ghost in the Shell. That's That's a good idea. Ghost in the Shell. See, I wouldn't really focus on the hair. I would focus on the head with ears, because I can sort of sculpt the hair, you know. It's more like have the head and ears, and then we can kind of sculpt the hair. See, I'm looking at Ghost in the Shell, if there's any sculpts that pop open. I'm really shocked. I'm not seeing any Ghost in the Shell stuff. What other anime stuff would be there? Ghost in the Shell didn't come up. Alright, here's one. So you got one like that. Oh, see, now they're popping up. Oh, it's her name. It's not Ghost in the Shell. Okay. So let's see. Here's another one. So you got files like that, and then basically, if like say the head is connected to the neck, like someone like Raz can slice the head off and print just the head. You don't have to worry about it being connected to the body either. So there's a lot that you can do with 3D sculpting and the 3D files. And then the other option is, which I always tell people, if it's like something that's a holy grail, but you want it to be like completely perfect, you can always commission a sculptor too, you know. But that requires finding a sculptor, seeing if they can do it, and then be ready to pay their fee, then the printing fee, and then the painter fee. So, unless you wanted to paint it yourself. But some people do hire sculptors to do their own sculpts. So, and then I've painted a couple of those for people. So it is possible if you want to spend the money. So, a lot of options. I always consider myself more of like the cheaper way. In a sense that if you were to hire a sculptor and then you were to have it printed and then painted versus just kind of finding a sculpt and tweaking it, you know what I'm saying? So, but I just throw out the options to people. I let them know what you can and can't do, you know, what you would want to. There's a couple people that, you know, are like, I'll wait. Then there's other people who are like, I got somebody working on something, but I want you to paint it, or vice versa. So, yeah, there's a lot of options out there. But I mean, the girl with the outfit that you showed seems to look pretty good. It's just a matter of if you want to go that route type thing. But I try to be honest with people when they contact me. I try to tell them, like, look, I understand you like that sculpt, but it's going to be way more work than what you think it's going to be, you know? And I try to tell people, it's not that I try to turn people away. I try to just let people know that I understand you like the sculpt, but the amount of work involved is going to break the bank. And then sometimes people are like, oh, screw it. But then there's other people who are like, oh, okay, let's find a different one, you know? I try to be honest. You know, I don't want people thinking just because they have a sculpt in hand that it's going to be a cheaper option. And I also tell people too, like, sometimes it's like, I know you got that item cheap off eBay or it's something you're sitting you don't want anymore, but it's really not worth the effort because the sculpt is crap. So I try and tell people, if we're going to spend the money, let's get a good sculpt, you know? Let's work off of something that's going to really pop versus just because I got it cheap or free, you know? That's why I also tell people not to rush, you know? Like, don't just go and buy something because it's cheap. Like, kind of let's take our time, let's brainstorm, and let's get that, like, holy grail for you. Plus, it's also, like, what I can do with it, too. You know, because I do a lot of stuff for people, and then I always get people like, oh, that's horrible, why did you use that sculpt, or it doesn't look as good, and I tell people, I'm like, look, the client gets what the client wants. I can sort of direct them, but if this is what they want, this is what they want. That's, I think, what people forget too when I do stuff. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, why did you paint it that color, or why did you, you know, give this character that? And I'm just like, well, that's what I was asked to do. I do know a guy that can print anime eyes, but I'm starting to get a little bit better with anime eyes, but it's still hard. But there is decals out there you can get. I do have a sheet of decals. Like I said, I know a guy who can make decals now. So if there was like an anime eye you liked, he can probably make a sheet. Of course, it's, you know, you gotta, he has his fees, but that's an option too. Yeah, eyes, I would say eyes are very, very difficult. There's guys out there that can paint little tiny eyes that are absolutely phenomenal. But I have my strong points and my weak points, and I admit it. I try to get better, but and I'm also honest with people too. I try to be, at least. Especially when I get the people are like, hey, I want you to paint like this. I'm like, well, contact that person. Yeah, like, I've seen her stuff, and, like, people like that who do it are phenomenal, you know? They can really, really shine in certain areas. I guess we all have our strengths and weaknesses, you know? See, I love doing hair. I feel that that's kind of my stronger point. For at least what I do. But then when it comes to like painting eyes, I'm kind of like, not that good. I'm also jealous of those guys on like Instagram that can paint like hot toy heads and it looks like the real person. Those guys are phenomenal. Yeah, a lot of those guys can really paint skin tones amazing, you know. See, I love the way they paint, and I love those skin tones, but I would never want like an actor or actress on my shelf. But I do love the way they paint. You know, I like to watch what they do. Yeah, those guys they could pump out some stuff, you know. They got some amazing talent. Hey Dana, how's it going? Yeah, I think the only actress I would want is Sweeney, like a Power Girl head, just as a changeable head of Sweeney for my Power Girl statues, but other than that, I don't think I would want any actor or actresses on my shelf. One change of head is good, that's about all. Yeah, we kind of worked on this in the beginning of the stream, so we're kind of sort of getting the armature situated. But this aluminum mesh is working out pretty good. It's a little bit messy now, but we'll keep shaping it up. We'll keep shaping it. It'll work out one way or the other. So I gotta ask your guys' opinion. Yeah, that Power Girl Sweeney head, I would love to get a copy. Alright, so I gotta ask your guys' opinion what I should do. So Jacob hasn't come back in chat or in emails in ages. And I'm doing this on stream, so if he is around, hopefully he sees it. So I still have his Supergirl statue. And we've never finalized the commission because he ended up in the emergency. But I don't know what to do with this item by July because it's going to be a year. So I'm worried about if something's happened to him because he hasn't answered any of my emails, or if he's like, you know, back in rehab, or I mean, God forbid he's not around anymore. I don't know what to do with the statue now. And I'm a little concerned because the last time he came in stream, he said he was gonna get back to me, and I never heard from him again, so I don't know what to do. You know, do I keep the statue indefinitely? Do I flip it on eBay? Like, I wish I knew, like, what was going on. So I don't know what to do. The only thing I can think of is going forward, I'm going to have to put a clause in commission saying that, you know, if I finish an item and you disappear on me after, you know, so many months, I'll just sell it off or something, you know? I don't know what to do. Well, I mean, I hope he's okay, but I would love to get some kind of... I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss. I've never run into this before. Because I finished it July 10th of last year. and we're, you know, and it's been almost a full year. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I mean, he went dark, then he came back, then he went dark again, then he came back, and now it's just completely dark. So I'm a little bit, I'm concerned. You know, if something's happened, I wish a family member would reach out. I mean, if he came back and he said, "Hey man, I got too many emergencies, I can't, you know, pay for it, flip it," I would understand, no problem, you know. But I don't want to sell it off or get rid of it, and then all of a sudden he comes back. But then again, I don't want to hold it for like 4 years. That's you know, I don't know. I don't know what to do. You know, kind of like I've never dealt with this before. And I feel bad because I just would love to know what's going on. Yeah, because what I need to do is, I told my friend that if anything happens, that he should come into the house and try to get everybody's items back to them, but I have to get it like in a will. So I'm hoping this summer I can sort of set up a will, and I would have him come in and just be like, "Hey, you can keep all my statues, just get all these back to clients," you know? So I gotta set something up like that, but I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm kind of at a loss here. Yeah, I think with this one, only because Jacob was in streams a lot and we talked a lot, and it wasn't, you know, he wasn't like somebody that I just met, you know, he's been around for ages. So I just want to give him the benefit of the doubt, you know. So I don't know. Like I said, I think going forward, I'm gonna have to change up my website and put that in there for commissions. But I don't know. Like I said, I just I try not to be a dick. That's all. But yeah, I can see that, Terrell. Other painters would be like, "Oh, if you don't pay me in a week, I'm selling it off," you know. But going forward, I'm definitely going to have to change up some rules. I just try not to make a big stink of everything, you know. Like, I try to make everything simple, and I try to work with people, because it's at the end of the day, it's just a resin statue, and the more complex you make it, the more people just kind of don't want to work with you. So, yeah, I'm definitely got to get the, you know, will set up, because like my cousin won't know what the hell to do with this stuff. But at least my friend would be like, "Oh, I'm going to take your statues, but I'll get all these out to your clients." So I got to have sort of a backup plan. I told my friend, "You can sell the stuff too." He's like, "I'm keeping everything." I said, "Well, alright." I just don't want it all, like my cousin would just throw it in like the dumpster, because he won't know what to do with anything. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if he had any Facebook, you know, presence. I just feel bad though. I just, you know, like if a family member came to me and said, "Hey, look, something happened, you know, he told me to just tell you to get rid of it," or if, you know, I guess I'll wait till July. Yeah, maybe I'll kind of wait till July. Hopefully he watches the stream and maybe he pops back in. Go from there and see what happens. I don't know. just wanna know what the hell's going on. But definitely gonna put that on the website. If I don't hear from you after 4 months when it's done or something, or 3 months, it goes on eBay or whatever. But I think this is also going to change, where I'm going to start, you know, changing up some other things here and there. God, life sucks at times. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, Terrell. Like, he said, I don't want to get it too personal, but he kind of sort of explained what he went through. But he didn't get into too much detail. And then he said he was back home, but then I think that's when he popped in stream, but then after that, never heard from him again. I even emailed him, I think, 3 times since. I think the last stream he popped in was probably around Christmas time, I think, maybe. Or maybe even before. Maybe Thanksgiving time, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of don't know what to do on this one. Something I never dealt with before. Although he did mention to me, he said when he I guess he did end up in the hospital the first time, he said he had his nephew go through his emails to email people, but I guess he didn't email me. So I don't know. And the crazy thing, it was amazing working with him on the project. It was nice and fluid. We were both on point. We didn't have any issues. It was a fun project, but then just disappeared. I hope he didn't pass. I don't know. I've never heard a story like this before. I don't know if you guys have heard anybody in the hobby that sort of... I mean, I've heard collectors pass away and stuff that, you know, that were well known, but I haven't heard anybody with like commissions run into this. So... I guess I make a decision in July for him, but going forward I'm going to change up the web page and rules. Put a little disclaimer in there. The other thing too is I've had the box wrapped up all this time. I probably need to unwrap it, make sure nothing's sticking to like bubble wrap or anything. That's the other thing too I forgot to do. Crap, I should probably do that soon. Oh, it's always something, isn't it? Yeah, I know a couple guys are pretty strict. I did hear stories years ago where guys were like, "Oh, he didn't get back to me after I finished the item, so I just sold it off or something," you know. Um, I'm a little bit more lenient, especially if it's somebody that's like really good to work with, you know. I mean, if the person I'm working with is an absolute tool, it's a different story. But when people are sort of good to work with, I rather kind of work with them as much as I can, so if they want to come back for more commissions, you know, try to keep that repeat service coming. Kind of learned that taking on new clients sometimes is more hassle than working with somebody that wants to keep doing stuff. Well, I mean, you know, the only thing that could happen is you go to small claims court, you know, like for what I do. Like at this point, if I could just get some kind of communication, like even if it's like, hey man, you know, I was in the hospital for so long, I can't really afford to pay you. Can you hold off to this point? I would be okay. Or if it's like, hey, you know, the family member contacts me and says he's not around anymore, I would know. But I guess I'll send out a couple more emails, and then by July, if I don't hear anything, I guess I got to make a decision. Yeah, I'm just figured I'd ask you guys if you a little bit of an input, see what you guys suggest, because you know, because in the streams he had a lot of good inputs on stuff, especially with like selling these items, you know. I just feel bad. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Devastator. Like I said, this is the first time I'm dealing with it, so I guess it's a lesson learned, you know? So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt till the 1 year anniversary, and then after that, I guess it's just, I guess it goes on eBay or whatever, you know? But then again, you know, I might never hear from him again. That's another thing, so I don't know. But, like I said, I'm gonna change up the rules now going forward with people. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, I'll do the year for this since it's the first time, and like I said, he was very active on the streams and in the voting and stuff. He was good to work with on the commission, but I guess gotta do what I gotta do at this point. But going forward, I'm gonna just like say, hey, if I don't hear from you in like a month or something, it's gone, or something like that, you know. Yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah. But I think I'm gonna definitely start changing up things how I work commissions going forward. A couple other things here and there, but just I don't know, just never ran into this before. I think the worst thing I really ever had was back when, like around the 2016-17 era, is guys would commission me and then they would like sell it off right away because they wanted to make a profit, but they weren't. So I don't know. That was kind of a weird era. No, I'm not doing contracts. If it was like $15,000, $20,000, $50,000 jobs, that's a different story. But for what I do, I don't need a contract. That's, to me, it's stupid for what I do. You know what's happening a lot now, though, is a lot of people now are sort of, instead of like doing a down payment, a lot of people want to just sort of like pay as I go. So like as I'm working on it, people are paying installments. So that kind of works out better. But I don't know. Like I said, I make things easy for everybody, and it's been going well for all these years. But I guess just sometimes, once in a while, shit happens. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I just hope nothing's happened. That's all. Hopefully, he's okay. But you know what it is too. If it's like a life emergency and something happened, and I'm sure if like, you know, that's all you're focused on, like statue is kind of like the last thing on your mind. But just a quick email saying, hey man, sell off the item, I can't pay for it or whatever, I'd be like, cool. So then watch, next stream he pops in, you know? Next stream he just comes out of nowhere. Yeah, Dana, I've already talked to my friend. I gotta make up a will. Basically, I told him, I said, if anything happens to me, I'd want him to come in and sort of like take all my collectibles and statues, but also try to get everybody's commissions out to them. And he said he's willing to do that, but I just have to get it like in a will, you know. He said he would want to keep all my Power Girl and custom statues for himself. And then, you know what I noticed too? Like a couple of my other friends in the hobby and guys I know that collect statues, they're all starting to like ask other friends in the hobby and collectors to be like, hey, if something happens to me, come and take my collection and help my wife sell it, you know? Because like, you know, the wife and kids probably don't know what this stuff is worth. So that's kind of like what I need to get situated. What I probably should do is, like, I would really like to start getting more organized and put everybody's name and number on the boxes and the item, which I was doing there for a while, but with all the life emergencies with my parents, I let that slide. But for a while there, on my shelf, I would have like I would tell everybody, put your name and address on inside the box so I could put it next to your item on the shelf, you know? So if anything happened to me, you would have your item with the name and address on it, you know? So I got to get back into doing that once I get organized after this summer with my parents. Yeah. There's another guy I know in another state where he said he's having like guys from other states to be in his will because his wife won't know what to do with stuff. So, which is a good idea to tell you the truth, because, you know, I have a cousin who I trust, but he'd be the type of person to come into my house and take all my stuff and call up a comic book store and be like, hey, I'll give you all the stuff for like $100, and it, you know, the guy would come running over and take everything and be like, holy crap, I got all this stuff for free, you know? So, but at least with my friends, they would know what to do with everything. I mean, that's something you guys should think about too. If you have somebody who knows what this stuff is worth, you know, you put them in the will to like, hey, this person handles my collectibles. It's not that I care what happens to everything, I just don't want the stuff thrown into the trash, you know? I'd rather a friend take it, either keep it or sell it and make the money, than it just to end up going to like a comic book store for like $50. Well, that's why you gotta have a friend come in and take this stuff, you know? But my goal is, I want to enjoy my collectibles for as much as possible. And then if I actually start making it into like my 60s, if I make it that far, I think I want to start selling everything off and kind of really cut down on stuff. And just have like holy grails. But then if I make it that far, if I don't make it that far, then I don't care. But if I do, I kind of want to just kind of cut down on stuff. Well, the way I look at it is, I believe the younger generation, as they get older, I don't think they're going to be into this stuff as much. I could be wrong, but I feel like they don't really care about like collectibles or statues or toys. So I figured I'd sell everything off when it's worth something and go from there. Yeah, I'm with you, Raccoon. I'll be I'm hitting 50 next year, so I figure I want to get rid of a lot of stuff that, like, I'm still working on stuff where if I can't see it, I don't want it, you know? So that's kind of the goal. If I can't see it, I don't want it. And I got rid of a lot of stuff, which I'm happy about, but there's still more to go. Once I get through that hump of getting rid of a lot of stuff, I'll be happy. I think if I make it into the nursing home or assisted living when I get older, I just want like 2 statues and like 2 comic books and I'll be good. But do you guys ever think you'd be talking about this on someone's stream? we're all getting older. See, what did you talk about on your stream the other day? What happens when we kick the bucket, what we're going to do with our collectibles. Well, that's the thing is, you hope they would get some money out of it, but if they don't know what it is, it's going to be hard, you know? So that's the only problem. Yeah, pretty much, Darrell. We're the only people that kind of know what we got. But then again, like, if I make it to years down the road, who's to say my friends will be around or my family members might not be around? So, you know, at that point, what the hell, who knows what you do, you know? But the only problem I learned, though, but dealing with my parents, is whatever you do, or whatever person you want to come in and do your stuff, you have to have it in a will. You have to have it situated, because if you don't have that in writing, and say you left everything to like a niece, a nephew, or your kids, you know, they could say, hey, he didn't put you in the will, you're not touching this crap, you know what I'm saying? So that's an important thing. It has to be in a will. And then the other thing too is, if you don't have a will at all, the state could come in and take your crap. So that's another thing too. I gotta get that will situated, because I don't want the state coming in and taking everything. Yeah, just tell your sister, just get it into a will. That's all. Because otherwise, she won't be able to do a damn thing. I mean, yeah, she could probably come in and grab everything right away, but if you have a house, a car, you know, 401, IRA, stuff like that, you gotta have that stuff, you know, situated. Yeah, I think it was my mother's friends growing up years ago. One of them's their children passed away, and he had a house and everything, so they had to go in probate, and it took like a long time for them to get it situated. Whereas if he had a will, it would have been over and done with, you know. So that's what I got. That's kind of my goal this summer. I was gonna do it last summer, but we had so many emergencies. I didn't have the funds to go over and get a lawyer. But I think this year is gonna be the year to do it. Sit down with the lawyer. He's like, "All right, what do you deal?" Well, I got Power Girl comic books. I want my friend to take care of it. He's gonna be like, "What?" The lawyer would be like, "What the hell is this guy's problem?" And that's the other thing too, is if you have like an IRA or a 401, you got to put up a beneficiary on that stuff too. So if you guys have those, you got to get your beneficiaries on them right away. The goal is to make sure the government doesn't take your crap. That's the goal. You don't want the man taking your shit, basically. Yeah, that's good, Terrell. Yeah, all that stuff, you got to have that stuff all situated. Yeah, but Devastator, will they have to pay, what is it, what is it, where if they inherit it, they have to pay, whatchamacallit, taxes because of it's worth more or whatever. What the hell is that called? I'm drawing a blank on it. It has to do with houses. No, not estate. It's where when the house goes up in value and it's more than what you paid, you have to pay taxes on that because it's it became worth more than what it was originally. So it's I don't know why I can't think of it. It's I forgot the name of it. The only problem with the 401k, if they inherit it, I think what it is you have 10 years to take it out. Capital gains, that's it. Yeah, capital gains. But I think they have like what? I know with IRAs, if you inherit an IRA, the new rule is you have 10 years to take it out. So you can take out the money, but you don't get penalized, but you get taxed, but it becomes income. So that's only a problem with like inheriting like an IRA. Yeah, so the other thing too is I would also Devastator, like if you've done a lot of work on your house, save all those records for your kids. So this way when they go to, like, if they go to sell the house, they can show all the work that was done with it. And I think that takes away from the capital gains, I think. I could be wrong. I know when I sold my parents' house for them to get them an assisted living, the accountant was like, how much work was done on the house? And my mother saved all her records, so I sent it to him. So he's like, okay, good. He's like, you put so much money into it, you don't have to worry about that, you know? Sorry, Dana. I just go where the flow of the chat goes. Sometimes we talk about old stuff, and now we're talking about life and death. Oh, okay, that works. You know what it is as I've gotten older and all the stuff I've been dealing with my parents for the past 5 years, I'm learning all this stuff. Is there a way you can put your house into a trust? So this way, if you were ever to sell it and go on to Medicaid, they couldn't take the money from you? I don't know. Like I said, I like talking to people about this stuff now as I've gotten a house and I've gotten older. Sometimes you learn some stuff you never even thought you would need to know. You know what it is too is when I get older, I want to, if I have to go into like assisted living, Medicaid looks 5 years back. So I would like to see if there was to be a way I can like hide the house in a trust or something, so if I go to sell it, they couldn't touch the money. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be ways around it. I'm like, if all the rich people can do it, I'm sure I can do it. The man's not going to care about the statues, he's going to care about the house. Just got to stick it to the man. Anyway, Dana, how have you been doing? How things getting better now? Well, that's good. That's you're living the dream, I guess, right? I hope to get in that position too, where I'm back on working on personal stuff and commissions. That's where I want to be too. No, you're kind of in the same boat as two clients I have, where their wives like this statue would be too pervy, or you can't have a statue like this in front of the kids. Meanwhile, the kids are probably on the internet and they see far worse every day. Hell, you can go on TikTok and see worse. Like, really worse. I'm actually amazed on how TikTok doesn't, like, and Instagram doesn't block a lot of the nudity on there. Because it is rampant. Yeah, there's a lot of wives who I guess are really offended with statues. I don't know why. But yeah, it's I've had people contact me on some of the statues I've done in the past, and they're like, I want to buy the statue. I'm like, okay. But they're like, oh, my wife won't let me have it. I'm like, well, then why did you contact me? But there has been people in the past who have said that to me with some of the stuff I've done. I mean, I guess it's cool to say, hey, you like it, but... No, there's a lot of wives and girlfriends out there that jealous over a piece of resin. I don't know. I can understand if you have young kids, you don't want like a half-naked chick on your shelf that has tentacles all over the place, but I don't see what's wrong with having like, you know, a Vampirella statue, or... Because like I said, you could go on Instagram and TikTok and pretty much half everyone's naked anyway. That's a good way to look at it, I guess. I guess as long as you're you know, you guys got the bills paid and food on the table, it doesn't really matter. You know what I always thought, and maybe I'm wrong, but would you rather your husband or your wife be into statues and home with you all the time and going out and doing stuff, or would you rather them going out to the strip club and blowing money at the racetrack, you know? Like, what would be more... What would you rather have, you know? A nerd that's just likes resin statues, or someone that goes to the racetrack and blows your mortgage every month? Well, I've been on YouTube and I've seen some guys' personal collections that are not married, and they got stuff in there that would, I mean, even I wouldn't have in my own collection, but it is kind of funny that some people get really pissed off. Well, if couples can get divorced over politics, I'm pretty sure some get divorced over statues or Pokemon cards or something, you know? Well, that's good, Dana. You got a good plan going there. Just remember, though, my experience is when you hit 80, that's when everything starts going to shit. So plan ahead of time. That's all. Uh-oh, raccoon's laying down the truth. Hey, I'm just letting you know from experience from what I've seen. Help me help you, alright? Yeah, there's that one site you guys linked last week with the Bayonetta, the QTX or something, whatever. What is that site? Where is it? I have it here somewhere. ORZK GK. You guys, if you guys want to see, so I am not posting them, but if you guys want to see some wild stuff, this stuff has some wild statues. Yeah, if you go by 18 plus section, they have female, male, and furry. So if you guys want to see some cool some stuff, go on there. Yeah, Dana, you should go into that section and order a couple. Yeah, there's a furry section there. It always comes back around, so. Furry. Furry, not furry. Hey, but you want to know? It sells. So. And I'm not knocking people for making it, because if people are going to want it, then that's the American way. But, you know, they have the What is that pose where the girl has her face on the ground but her ass is up in the air with her legs spread? Is it like the V pose or something? I think on that site they have it. They have all the anime guys doing that pose, especially Thanos. Jackapose, that's it. You got it. Yeah. So if you look up the Jackapose, they're doing like every character now of that. Everything from male, female, everything. And I always, anytime I see those, I send it to my friends in chat, and I go, "Hey man, there's your another Wolverine statue. I know you've been wanting." They're always like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I'm like, "Hey, you're the one who buys it." They're like, "I don't buy that crap." Yeah, they have a Hulk one. They have a Thanos one. I think they did the guy from One Piece. There's a bunch of them. I can't post it in chat or link it, but I'll let you guys do your own research. But like I said, they make it, it sells, then there's nothing wrong with it. Not something I would own, but more power to you. You can make money off of it, go for it. It's kind of funny though. If that stuff was made back around 2006, Disney and DC and Marvel would lay the hammer down on people making those items. But since 3D printing and AI and all this stuff, there's so much, it's so fast, they can't even stop it, you know? The Adam shoots Mary Jane? Oh, okay, I know which one you're talking about. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that site's got everything, Devastator. You guys could go down the rabbit hole. It's better to know and not know. How about that? Raza Ghouls, that's Talia Al Ghul. That was the one that Roberto von Burr sculpted, I think, that Jesse produced. I think it was Jesse that produced it. From Garage Kits. Yeah, everybody always wished he did that one in a 1/4, but that was a traditional sculpt, so... And Roberto von Burr is a really great sculptor. I don't think he does anything anymore. I'm not sure. What they've done, Devastator, from what I've heard, is they no longer ship these items in like logo boxes now. They ship everything in like blank boxes, so this way when Customs gets them, they don't open them up to see what's going on. But there's no copyright laws over there, over in like Japan, I guess it is. Or is it China or Japan? I think it's Japan. So they can get away with like this type of stuff, I guess. I mean, I'm sure if like Disney and Marvel really wanted to lay the hammer down, they probably could. But let's face it, they got other problems to worry about these days. Yeah, there was a big thing a while back with these guys. They were all like doing like logos on their boxes, and they were color boxing, and they were taking Marvel logos, and they were putting all the and I guess Customs, it was like, yo, this is not legit stuff, you know? So I guess they learned their lesson, and everything is like in a black box now with the brown box layer. So this way that if Customs opens it, they don't see all that stuff anymore. Oh, okay, yeah, I know, I do know in Japan, though, all the anime kits, like, if you go to it's called Wonderfest in Japan, it's like the big anime, kit of the year, and people who do these anime kits, they do like 100 of them, so all these people go in and buy those kits, and then they recast them, and it's not illegal for them to do that, I guess, in Japan, I think it is. That's why, like, that 2046 site has all those, recasts. I don't think I've ever bought an item from Thailand. Why? Did they put, like, bad stuff into it, or? Yeah, the third-party statues are China, but I thought Japan has those, garage kits. Because they have that Hobby Link Japan site. And I think that's just all recasted kits from, like, Wonderfest. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was like they put like crack and cocaine in the stuff or something. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I don't really know. I just remembered that around the 2007 era to like 2010, there was all this hoopla about, like, you know, garage kits over in Japan and China, and they're like recasting, and people who buy them are scum and blah blah blah, but that was like their laws there, so I guess it was a whole big thing like in the statue community here. And everybody was like, oh, if you buy like a kit from TO 2406, you're a scumbag and blah blah blah. But I was like, but their laws are different, you know? So, I don't know. You could get a lot done with some crack and coke from a statue from Thailand, but it might not look good when you're done. But a lot would get done, though, I'll give you that. You know, you'd be sitting there being like, this is the most amazing paint-up ever, and then after you're done, the head is over here on the leg, the arm is on top of the head, you know? No, I just remember in, like, it was so funny back in, like, around the 2006 to 2010 era. I mean, like, if you painted up an anime kit and if someone found out like it was a recast and it wasn't the official, you're like, oh, you're a horrible person, blah blah blah. But now look at what's going on these days. Yeah, the whole recasting and stuff back around then was so... it was like, you know... Because I remember I painted up an anime kit and somebody was like, oh, that's a recast. You shouldn't have painted that up. And I was like, well, it's not like I could find an actual item of it, you know? It's like I'm in America. It's a Japan item. How the hell do you find this stuff back then? Well, it was a different time though, you know, it was a very, very different time. It was a lot of the old school guys who, like, there was like an what was it? It was like an unspoken word in the community. But then once we got into like 2015, that, like, people were making runs on statues like crazy, and it didn't matter anymore. Yeah, I get that, Raz. Like, these days it's different, you know? It's a different world. I mean, look, people are using licensed characters like crazy as 3D sculpts, and, you know, like, alright, so let's put this in perspective. In 2006, I couldn't imagine somebody making a Magneto statue fully painted and doing 50 copies of it, painted up in Japan, and sending it out to people, making like $500 profit on each statue, you know? Like, in 2006, that would have been unheard of. It would have been like, oh my god, Marvel's gonna sue you, you're gonna go to jail. Because you couldn't even make 25 copies of a Superman bust without DC sending you a cease and desist, you know? So, but now, it's like, oh, they made 50 of them, who gives a shit, you know? It was a different time back then. Different time. Marvel was sending out letters all the time back around. I think it was about 2006 to 2008. They were sending out letters all the time to people. DC was sending out letters. I know they were sending people to, like, the conventions that were selling, you know, like kits of Superman and Spider-Man. I remember, I think it was Wonderfest they showed up to, and they made everybody, like, take down the table or something. I think it was the Wonderfest in Kentucky. Yeah, I would say 2015 we crossed the line. I think 2015 is kind of like when we really crossed that line of making kits and Marvel couldn't stop anybody anymore. Like, everybody became a producer on Facebook, and they had their own little groups. So it got to the point where Marvel and Disney and DC couldn't, like, stop all these people, and I guess they just threw up their hands and they were like, screw it, you know? And now with 3D printing and sculpting, you can't stop it at all. I don't know. I just wish a lot of the new collectors could have seen what it was like back then. It was a weird time. I still say that what screwed a lot of stuff up, though, about 2006 2017, 2018 is when everybody started doing the colored boxes on their items and stealing logos. That's when they really screwed up. Everybody started getting too cocky, and everybody was like, oh, this is my production company. Of course, they didn't make like a LLC or anything, but they would start putting DC logos on the statue boxes and Marvel logos, and that's when they really started, like, Marvel and DC was like, yo, what's going on now? And that's when they started stopping all the stuff coming overseas, and that's when they had to stop doing all that stuff. Do I watch any of the statue creators? Not as much as I used to, because over the past 2 years with everything that's been going on, I don't have the time to watch. I only have time to really listen to stuff on YouTube, so I like to watch, like, the painters, but I just don't have the time anymore. If I could get back to the point where I can work comfortable 5 days a week and have the weekends free again, I would. Now, I used to watch a lot of people, like, for a while there, just like other painters and stuff. I do have a couple guys on Instagram I watch, though. I forget the names of their channels, but I come across their, like, you know, their speed up videos where they paint and they draw. So I find myself watching more artists, like, drawing stuff than painters or sculptors, because I like just traditional art, basically. You know, like, I like watching, like, Frank Cho's videos. And I try and watch a couple other people here and there. A lot of the channels I watch, though, are gone. That's another problem. A couple people fell off. Yeah, I don't watch as much as I used to. I think it was around I used to watch heavily around, like, 2017, 18. Like, a lot of channels, but now I'm just too much work. I can't sit there, because if I find myself watching a video instead of working, then I'm not getting anything done. Well, that's cool. The one guy that does the live streams, he's doing a lot of the Wonder Womans for Joe, who's usually in chat. I forgot his channel. I watch his stream once in a while if I had time, but he kind of streams when I'm, like, working, so I think what it is everybody streams now and works. Like, everybody's kind of in their own window, you know? I don't know. I don't think I'm really that exciting. I just kind of sit here and mash stuff up, and that's about it. I'm not really a YouTuber, I guess you could say. Like, I like watching those guys on Instagram who paint up their item, but it goes super fast, and they do parts. But I thought about doing that and how much work is involved, and I sit there to myself and say, should I get more statues done, or should I make nice videos? You know what I'm saying? So, unless they have people who help them edit, you know? I'm already spread thin as it is. I think a couple of guys customize stuff, right? I don't know if they go in depth to what I do. But I think a couple of guys do stuff here and there. I know a lot of guys do it, but they do it for fun, so they're not really there on YouTube trying to film. You know, they're just kind of doing their own thing for the hell of it. Shut my brushes before they get funky. Alright, so I think this is a good start to her skirt. Of course, it might get chopped up and sort of mess with a bit. I mean, it's going to get seamed up to her belt. You know, some of this probably might get chopped down a bit to kind of do a little bit of a curving here and there. I just want to make sure that if I do chop anything, it doesn't fall off of her. So I wanted to make sure some of that ease was pushed through the mesh. So yeah, some of it's going to get grinded out, and I'm going to work out the pleats more and stuff. But I think it's a good start. Yeah, I think it's focusing on her chest more will work out pretty well. All right, Dana, have a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna be shutting down the stream anyway now. I think we're done for today. I'm pretty happy with this. So this should cure up pretty well. I think by next week I'll probably grind some stuff down. I think I need to grind down a bit, and then we can sort of start fine tuning it. And then if there's anything after I fine tune it, I need to grind out. I'll probably grind out some areas. So I think once we get this done, the edging is going to be a pain in the ass, because I want to make sure none of this is sticking through. So I might have to kind of fudge some things here and there. But yeah, the wireframe worked out perfect, better than I expected. Trying to do this with just Aves, and you know, having it harden and try to flop it, and it would break to be a nightmare. But this kind of worked out good. And then we'll make sure Blanka didn't cure into the desk, which I don't think he did. But at least we're getting the desk situated. Okay, so that almost cured in there. Yeah, that's gonna work out pretty well. And then next week we could kind of fill it in, and this way it looks like he's coming out of there. It's kind of funny Blanka's going to be in there. So the goal is set this up where Blanka sort of gets painted, glued in, and then I glue this on top afterwards. And then that's it for the desk. But, alright, that's where I'm calling it for today. I'm tapped. So you guys have a good rest of your weekend. And try to get this all... We're getting closer to getting them finished. The only thing left I really got to focus on is getting that chair printed for Peach. So that's kind of that's the next big thing to do. But you guys have a good rest of your weekend, okay?